An ICP isn't a project you finish. It's a living document that has to be nurtured because markets shift, products evolve, and the customer who was ideal last year can quietly become the wrong fit this year. This lesson closes the loop, and it depends on the Outreach Playbook you built in Lesson 7, because you can't refine a system you haven't actually run yet. The playbook is what generates the real-world results this lesson teaches you to act on. If you haven't built it, go back and do that first. In this one, you'll set a review cadence, define the metrics that measure your ICP's health, and build a real process for collecting feedback from your team. This lesson lives in the act phase of an act-refined feedback loop. It's about putting your ICP to work, gathering real data, and making systematic improvements rather than leaving it static. The core idea is simple. Measure how your ICP is actually performing, collect feedback from the people using it every day, and update the statement and the playbook on a real schedule. Skip this, and even a great ICP goes stale. This lesson is what turns it into an engine of continuous improvement instead of a document that gets written once and forgotten. First, an ICP is a living document, not a finished project. Treat it that way. Second, a feedback loop is what actually keeps it relevant over time. Third, changes in your market or your product are a real reason to revisit it, not a distraction from other work. Fourth, track specific metrics so you can measure your ICP's performance objectively, not just by feel. And fifth, a continuous improvement mindset here isn't optional. It's the difference between a tool that compounds in value and one that quietly expires. The first is the sales feedback loop, built on Plan, Do, Check, Act. In the context of your ICP, that means plan it across the lessons before this one. Do your outreach through the playbook you built, check the results here, and act by refining your ICP based on what you actually learn. The second is a KPI dashboard, a visual way to track things like your win rate in your top segment versus everywhere else, sales cycle length, and average deal size. It's what gives your feedback loop real data to work from instead of impressions. You've built a genuinely powerful ICP. Now you need to maintain it. This final lesson gives you a system for continuous refinement, a process for regularly checking your ICP against market data, sales feedback, and win-loss analysis. The goal is a real maintenance plan, one that keeps your ICP a competitive advantage instead of letting it become a historical artifact nobody updates. Honest completion means having an actual schedule and process in place, not just good intentions. By the end, the output for this lesson is your ICP Maintenance Plan, the operating guide for keeping everything you've built alive going forward. Back in Lesson 7, you built an Outreach Playbook and put it into motion. Now we build the system that keeps it, and everything before it, from going stale. First, decide how often you'll formally review your ICP and scorecard. Quarterly? After every major market shift? Write down a specific cadence, like the first Monday of every new quarter. Next, define the 3 to 5 metrics you'll use to track your ICP's health. Measurable, actionable things like win rate for your top segment, average deal size, and sales cycle length. Finally, decide how you'll actually gather feedback from your sales team. A weekly huddle, a Slack channel, a short structured survey. Something like a 15-minute ICP health check-in at the end of your weekly sales meeting works well. Write this whole plan down, printed or otherwise, since it's the thing that keeps everything else you've built from quietly going stale. Your checklist. Define a review cadence for your ICP. List 3 to 5 metrics to track its health. Document a process for collecting sales feedback. Schedule your first ICP review meeting, and put together a simple dashboard or tracking sheet. These produce a complete maintenance plan, the final piece that keeps your ICP dynamic and central to your strategy instead of turning into a dusty document nobody opens again. A boutique consulting firm had a very detailed ICP built around Fortune 500 financial services companies. But the market shifted, and they started closing real deals with late-stage tech unicorns that didn't fit that old definition at all. Their outdated ICP was quietly holding them back from chasing a genuine new opportunity. Because they'd committed to a quarterly review, they caught the shift, updated their ICP, scorecard, and marketing strategy, and pivoted fast. Revenue from the new tech segment grew 300%, and their overall pipeline health improved right alongside it, because the plan to keep watching was already built in. Think about that consulting firm story. Is there a new type of customer you're already winning that doesn't quite fit your current ICP? What's the opportunity cost of not recognizing that segment yet? Take that new customer type you just identified. What's one change you'd make to your ICP statement to include them? If not today, then on your next scheduled review. And if you actually committed to a quarterly ICP review, how would that change your team's agility in reacting to shifts in the market? Sit with that for a moment. The most common shortcut is building a maintenance plan and then never actually running it. And the cost is an ICP that quietly dies and becomes a liability instead of an asset. Real completion looks like a date on the calendar. It's scheduled and it's prioritized, not just intended. This maintenance plan is what pays forward everything from every lesson before it. Watch for the trap of making the review process too bureaucratic. A 2-hour meeting nobody wants to attend defeats the purpose. Keep it focused and short. And the real test of application. Is there a recurring meeting on the calendar right now to review this ICP? Pause the video and open the Lesson 8 worksheet. Under Maintenance Cadence, write how often you'll formally review your ICP and set an actual next review date, a real one, on a calendar. Under Health Metrics and Feedback, write your first metric, then a second, and describe how you'll gather qualitative feedback from your team. Your own notes work fine here too. This maintenance plan is the operating manual that ensures everything you've built across this whole workbook has a lasting impact. Check these off as you finish them. First, review cadence defined. Check it once you have a real schedule for reviewing your ICP. Next, key metrics identified. Check it once you have 3 to 5 metrics you'll actually track. And finally, check feedback process documented once you have a documented process for gathering sales feedback. With all 3 checked, you've built a system, not just a document, a complete, operationalized ideal customer profile, from problem definition all the way to a maintenance plan that keeps it alive. This measures whether your system is actually holding together over time. For review adherence, track what percentage of your scheduled ICP reviews actually happened on time. For team adoption, check what percentage of your sales team is actively using the scorecard, not just aware it exists. And for win rate stability, look at how your win rate has changed over the last 2 quarters. Stable or improving is the goal. A below benchmark result here points to a breakdown in the system itself, and that's exactly what your maintenance plan is built to catch. Imagine a year from now, your product has evolved and your market has shifted. Write down 3 specific things that might cause your current ICP to become obsolete, and for each one, write a 1-sentence plan for how you'd adapt. This exercise is really about preparing yourself to accept change before it happens. The question to sit with: is your team actually ready to change your ICP, or are you emotionally attached to the old one? Be honest with yourself. What would have to happen in your market for your ICP to become completely wrong? Who or what would be the first thing to challenge your assumptions? What would it actually take for you to be ready for that? For deeper reading, look into Eric Ries's Build, Measure, Learn loop from the Lean Startup, and think about how those same principles could apply to keeping your ICP alive and agile over time, instead of letting it calcify. 3 actions to build this discipline in. Book your first ICP review meeting right now, before you close this video. Create a shared folder or document for every output you've built across this workbook. And send a 1-page summary of your ICP and playbook to your entire go-to-market team.